Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm joined by Brooklyn District Attorney Joe Hynes, the Senior Pastor A.R. Bernard of the Christian Cultural Center in Brooklyn, and Mr. Michael Blue Williams, along with his partners in Guns for Greatness, Lundell McMillan and Kenneth Thompson, as well as Gregory Thomas, the program's managing director, and of course from the police department, our chief of the department, Phil Banks, and our deputy commissioner of strategic initiatives, Mike Farrell, who does all of the coordination as far as gun buyback programs are concerned. Before you are some of the 115 guns surrendered by the public to police last Saturday at Senior Pastor Bernard's church in Brooklyn. Since we began partnering with clergy leaders and district attorneys all over the city for the last 5 years, the public have turned in nearly 9,000 guns to the police in churches, in houses of worship. In addition, since May of 2000, another 7,500 have been surrendered at police stations across the city, which, like the churches, accept the guns, no questions asked. On Saturday, 89 of the 115 guns surrendered were handguns, as you can see here. Most of the rest were long guns, including one assault rifle. That comports with what we know about gun violence in our city. About 60% of all murder victims in New York City are killed with handguns, the rest with knives and other weapons. The good news is that this year, after setting record lows for murders last year, homicides are down another 30% so far, and shootings also are down significantly. We believe we're succeeding in New York for a variety of reasons. Chief among them is of course, the dedication of the men and women in the New York City Police Department who risk their lives every day taking guns off the street. A very strong partnership that we have with the district attorneys throughout the city, certainly none stronger than the one we have with District Attorney Hynes, as well as our buyback programs, including the one that we're announcing today, in which the sponsors offer mentoring programs to young people at risk. In addition to the $200 cash card provided for each handgun surrendered, the person was given contact information to receive mentoring for them or for someone that they know. The guns you see here were rendered safe by the experts from the police range and ultimately will be melted down to wire hangers. If they were swords, we'd be turning them into plowshares. After the NYPD partnered with the Brooklyn clergy in 2010, murders in the borough in 2011 fell below 200 for the first time in 50 years, the first time since John F. Kennedy was president. The following year, 2012, murders fell below 150 in the borough. Last year, citywide, New York experienced its lowest number of murders, as I said before, in 50 years. Still, we know that young men of color are consistently the majority of murder victims and shooting victims. The police alone cannot save their lives. The gun buyback and support from organizations like Guns for Greatness are a promising example of how the police, the prosecutors, clergy, and the public can join together to reduce violence and improve lives. The public can also turn in guns any day of the week at any police station, 24 hours a day, and receive $100, no questions asked. They can also anonymously report if they know somebody is carrying an illegal handgun. You can do that through our Gun Stop program, which you can reach through 311. And you're eligible in that program for a $1,000 reward. I want to thank all of our partners for making this latest buyback possible. And now I'm going to ask Joe Hynes to say a few words, followed by Mr. Williams, who will explain more about the mentoring program, and then finally Pastor Bernard will make some comments. Joe?
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. And of course, we're very, very pleased with our partnership that began taking guns into churches in 2008. My chief assistant, Amy Feinstein, who was quietly in the room and trying to avoid all your questions, is the person who's quarterbacked this and has done a fantastic job with Inspector Carrasco of the NYPD. We've taken 2,714 guns off the streets of Brooklyn since the program started. In terms of the murder rate, it's I think there's no question there's a direct link. We averaged about 775 murders when I had the privilege of becoming DA in 1990. And as the Commissioner said last year, we went under 150. And this morning, we are 9 fewer than last year. So we're going in the right direction. I thank Pastor Bernard for allowing us to use his venue. I applaud the folks from Guns for Greatness. I think it's a wonderful idea. Anything that will encourage kids to turn in guns is something that I completely support. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Mr. Williams?
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. I wanted to first thank the NYPD for making this a possibility. The process was a lot less painful than someone like myself would have thought. I have to thank Ken Thompson, who stepped up and showed me how to navigate and became a co-chair for me, a former federal prosecutor that understood the politics of the city and pointed me in the right direction. Greg Thomas, Londell McMillan. I was inspired to do this by a challenge that Commissioner Kelly sort of put out there. He challenged us in the community to come up with better ideas to get guns off the street and curb violence. So it inspired me to come up with an idea like Guns for Greatness. And the mentoring component is so important because these young kids out here need an option. They need something to do besides here just do the right thing and turn in a gun. So the idea is to get them to turn in this gun, sign up for mentoring, and try and put them on a better path towards a happier life and steer away from crime. So I appreciate everyone, Chief Banks, everyone again, for allowing Guns for Greatness an opportunity. We're looking forward to doing it in Queens, the Bronx, and Manhattan, and around the city, and hopefully take it and become a national program. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Reverend?
Thank you, Commissioner. Again, let me publicly thank Commissioner Kelly for his endorsement and support of this, and of course, DA Hynes. I was very excited when Blue Williams and Ken Thompson came to me with the program, and of course then Londell and McMillan and Greg Thomas. Of significance is the mentoring program, but also of significance is the fact that these young men actually grew up in these neighborhoods, made something significant of their lives. They are attorneys, they are business executives, and they stepped up to the plate, took the initiative, and raised private sector funds to fund this program. So I'm very excited about that, and I think it's a model that is worth replicating around not just the boroughs of New York City, but other cities in the United States. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend. Thank you. Questions about this program?
How many people signed up for the mentoring program? Did that happen? What was it?
Everyone that came in was given a flyer to give them the options to call about the mentoring. We didn't want to do it that day. We wanted to keep people coming in and out. So we've started getting the calls ready. I think we're already up to about 22 calls. And then what we're doing is I'm actually personally sitting down with each person that signs up for the mentoring, and we're going to screen and find out what they want to do so I can partner them up with the right mentor that they'll be interested in working with.
Was this, like, in terms of this gun buyback, did you see a large number of young people coming in, or was there anything different about the age group? Sometimes, you know, we get, like, you know, grandmothers, let's say, whose sons are keeping these guns in their homes and stuff. I mean, is there anything you can tell us about that?
Yes, it was what I mean, I haven't been to other gun buybacks, but I saw a significant number of young people coming in. I actually saw parents bringing in young people. One of the first people that spoke to us was a father who had found the gun in his son's room. So he brought him and the son in and asked us to sign him up for the mentoring component. So I could definitely get a sense that there were people that were skewed younger from what I was seeing.
Thank you.
When you say mentoring, what do you mean, like career guidance, or are you talking about this, tell us what the mentoring means?
I think mentoring comes in a number of forms. I was mentored as a young man at the PAL up in the Bronx, and that was just giving me a father figure and someone that sort of kept me in school. My vision of mentoring is that if a young man wants to be an engineer or a doctor or a lawyer or is interested in financial services, that I can, through my network of people that I know, connect that young man to something that'll be interest of him and then keep him engaged. Actually, one of the last young men that came in with his mother on Saturday, we spoke to him for a minute. He said he wanted to be a police officer. So we told him about Chief Banks. We said, here's a man that's from Brooklyn that's become the highest ranking officer in uniform. And he was sort of amazed by it. And so I promised him that I'd bring him to you, Chief. So, you know, that type of mentoring.
Your thoughts about the uniqueness of the gun buyback program, the mentoring component? I don't think it's ever been done before, right?
Hey, you know, we'll try anything. And the gun buyback program has worked. DA Hynes has certainly been a major supporter of it. As you said, we're up to 9,000 guns now. So if this increases the number of the flow of guns coming in, great. We just started. Let's see how it, you know, hopefully how it grows as a result of this. But, you know, we're certainly willing to give it a try.
Is there a significant amount of ammunition turned in as well?
Say it again?
Ammunition. Is there much ammunition turned in as well?
Ammunition? We're not collecting ammunition at the buybacks. I'll tell you this, though. Some of them, these guns come in loaded. So you really have to know what you're doing to render these guns safe. That's why our offices are there. We need that expertise.
Have you guys noticed any, like...
One second, okay? Raise your hand, we'll do it. Yes, sir.
I know it's an anonymous process turning into guns, but can you guys share any stories that people have shared with you, the gratitude for this program, how it might have affected someone's life, having things like this? Anything like that? I know it's not.
You know, I don't have it. It's probably out there. I don't have it personally, but I'm sure there's anecdotal information. Joe, you have any stories?
They're generally anxious to get their cash card and get out.
Well, we have one story, Commissioner. Yeah, I mean, there's one story, and again, anonymity is very critical because the church's involvement is a safe haven. They feel comfortable coming. And there was one particular woman who brought in 3 firearms, and this was taken from some of her younger male family members as an agreement to change their lives, to turn their lives around. They didn't want to come in, but they were willing to surrender them to her, and she brought them in. So I think it's very significant.
Very good.
Are the weapons tested at all to see if they're linked to any crimes?
Yeah, generally speaking, we don't test these. You know, we take them and then they're, as I said, ultimately they're melted down and become coat hangers. Yes, sir.
Have you guys noticed any trends, or did you have any expectations after the passage of the gun control on the state level?
Any increase?
Yeah, you know, with the number of weapons turned in, or the type.
As a result of the new New York State law?
Yeah.
I don't think so, quite frankly. I think we've done, what, this is maybe the 3rd one since January. That law was passed January 16th. This is probably the 3rd one. I think this is pretty much average, about 115. We only saw 1 assault weapon coming in. Now, obviously, the assault weapons ban in that law, so I guess we haven't seen it, the effects of it manifested in the buyback program yet.
Would you expect that would generate?
Difficult to say. I mean, obviously, there's controversy about some aspects of the law. They're talking about going to court on it, so I don't know if people will act that quickly necessarily. Yes?
Pardon my ignorance. I don't know much about guns, but that particular weapon over there, the long one over there, seems like it can do a lot of damage. Am I correct in thinking that?
This is an assault weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the reason that's an assault weapon...
Why would anyone have that in their home?
I'm sorry?
Why would anyone have that in their home is beyond me.
Well, that's a good question. And that's at the crux of the debate, because these weapons are made, these are weapons to kill people. This is not hunting. This is not a hunting weapon. And so it has the aspects that make it an assault weapon. Some of it being, for instance, it's a bayonet stock, a bayonet lug up here. You put a bayonet on it because it has a pistol grip. Also, one of the aspects of an assault weapon. You don't need a bayonet lug to shoot a deer, and you don't need a pistol grip. And so this is at the crux of the debate over assault weapons. You know, General McChrystal said, these are weapons of war. They're made to kill other people quickly, and there's no need. We have assault weapons ban now in New York State, but we don't have an assault weapons ban throughout the country, and it looks like we're certainly not going to get one this session of Congress. Yes, sir.
What is your message to the hip-hop community in seeing this as a positive rather than a negative? There is some negative backlash?
Impacting the communities?
No, just what is like, as a positive for the hip-hop community, what is your message to them?
A positive message.
Yeah. To see this as a positive rather than a negative.
Okay, I'm not sure I understand the question, but it is a positive thing to get guns off the street. And, you know, it's difficult to measure the effect, but if you look cumulatively at what's going on, District Attorney's Office, Police Department, gun buybacks, murder down to record lows here. Shootings are down to record lows. I mean, there's no one thing that we're doing that can be pointed to, but I think in the aggregate, what we are doing collectively, gun buybacks in churches certainly help, I think is having a positive effect, a positive impact. And I think it's well received in the communities where we do it.
I think Commissioner Blue is a representative.
I think I might have a little more hip-hop knowledge than the commissioner on this one, so I'll throw in my 2 cents. I think that from a hip-hop standpoint, I think it's just about improving the relationship. It's about gaining some trust. It's about coming up with other ways that we can help our community. The hip-hop community is about reducing illegal guns on the street just as much as the commissioner and his team are. But we don't always know how to communicate and work together. And I'm hoping that Guns for Greatness will show that we can work together in a positive way and net some results. And that as people have turned in guns and it was anonymous and I'm able to spread the word around different ways, that the anonymous part will become something that people believe in the hip-hop community and they'll turn in their guns and feel safe.
Yes, sir.
I'm wondering whether anybody expressed relief at turning in the gun. You know, say I've been wanting to get rid of this and couldn't figure out a way to get rid of it. Is that?
You know, as Joe Hynes referred, there's very little conversation. People are not coming in and talking about where the gun came from, or, you know, now I don't know about the gentleman who came in and talked about with this, you know, in his son's room, but I've been to a lot of buybacks and people get in, they look straight ahead, they get the money and, you know, they leave. They're not looking to have too much conversation. We also, you know, we ask the media to stay away from the sites because we don't want to intimidate people. We want them to come forward. We think the anonymity of it is really, you know, a very central part of it. So we want to continue to enable people to come in, minimal conversation, get the money, leave. Yes, sir.
Are you surprised any of the makes and models that are coming in? Have they changed over the years? What's coming in on buybacks?
I think it's pretty standard. I mean, you'll get some pretty new guns, Glocks, that sort of thing. I know I saw when I was there, I had a 40 caliber Glock. Then you'll see the older weapons, the smaller 25 caliber weapons, that sort of thing, usually older. The Glocks, usually they're newer. It's you know, a new gun. Then you'll see some knockoffs. You'll see like weapons that look like Berettas, but they're not. They're made in, some are made here, some are made in South America, Taurus, those types of it. So it's pretty much standard fare. You'll see, you know, sort of shotguns. I would say this is a representative cross-section of what we see coming in. He actually had, these gentlemen had someone who was making guns to get to $200. I think he did that twice. He had a stern talking to him, and he didn't show up again. But it's innovation.
Do you check serial numbers to see where the guns come from by states? Or
I'm sorry, say it again.
do you check serial numbers to see where the guns come from?
We don't do that, right? We're basically destroying these guns. It's very difficult to do a check. If you have to go through ATF actually goes back to the manufacturer. And we don't have a national database. That's one of the discussions that's going on now in Washington. So it's just not that easy to put in a serial number and see where they come from. You know, obviously the brands, you know, Smith & Wesson, or Colt, you know, you can go to those manufacturers. Some of these other companies are not that easy to contact anymore. Yes, sir.
These numbers are very impressive. These declining murder numbers are very, very impressive. As you said, this is part of an aggregate. This is one of the reasons they're declining. I work a lot in Chicago, where they have the opposite experience, where the numbers are skyrocketing. If you sat down with your friend Gary McCarthy tonight at dinner, would you have a couple of things you could focus on that you talked about?
Well, we're just not in a position to compare what we're doing here with any other city. Different cultures, different demographics, different political structure. So we're not telling anybody what to do. We're just consider ourselves fortunate here. Things seem to be going in the right direction. We have people come from all over the country and take a look at what we do, and we welcome them. But we're not, we don't have all the answers. We just things are going well here, but we can always do more. Our goal is to continue to certainly reduce violence.
We're very, very pleased with the tremendous amount of guns that have been turned in, not only last Saturday, but since the beginning of the program. We think it works, and we think the statistics back it up.
We work collaboratively. The district attorney's staff is at these sites. His investigators are there, along with the police officers. Our community affairs officers are there. So it's a teamwork. And of course, prior to the actual buyback, getting the word out that there, in fact, is going to happen, where it's going to happen, that sort of thing. So we have a very seamless working relationship.
All of these elements can't do it. So you're talking about the fact that it's private money.
This is another one. See, you can tell by the hand.